Thank you all so much for stopping by today. So y'all, couple of weeks ago, it's been like maybe 10, 12 days, I shared with you that I sent my soil sample in for 2 parts of the garden, one being the raised beds and then also one being the in-ground beds. I'm really surprised by the results, but I want to share them with you. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, my name is Auyanna of Auyanna Plants, where we teach new and beginner gardeners how to start, grow, and maintain a healthy garden. And we grow flowers, vegetables, and herbs. I love to grow them together, not only for the beauty, but also for the benefits that the different plants offer to each other. So if you're looking for gardening tips and inspirations, be sure to click the subscribe button. Okay, so let's get right into it. First of all, if you're new to the channel, we moved to the Atlanta area about a year ago, a little bit over a year now. So we moved here and we first stayed in an apartment, and then we found this property that we're at now. So I am starting to build this garden all from scratch. And so I was just so ready to get out of that apartment and so ready to like really grow. Now we still grew, and I showed where you can still grow on the patio. It's just some different things that you have to take into consideration, because y'all, I started container gardening, especially when we first moved overseas to places like Germany and Italy. We didn't have nothing near as the amount of space that we had now. A lot of them didn't even have like a little yard. I think Japan was the only place where I had like a little small yard, but most of the places were apartment style homes. And so that's why I always share that you could grow in containers, but there's still a few things that you need to know when growing in containers. So make sure that you click the link in our description and that you get the free container gardening guide. This is going to help you get started and teach you those little things that you need to know so that you can grow successfully all in containers. Okay, so like I said, y'all, I was just so ready to move and to get growing that we did what was called phase 1 of the garden. And I'll make sure that I link that video. And so the people that built the raised beds, Renew Urban Gardening, one of their services was if you wanted them to fill it, then they could also fill it for you, because the beds are 4x8 and they are 24 inches in height. And let me tell you, it takes a lot to fill those beds. So one of the things that they did was they did kind of like the hugelkultur method at the bottom. And so as the soil continues to settle, like this spring, I went ahead and I topped it off. But I'm going to show you the results because I'm telling y'all, I was really surprised. But there's some things we got to work on in some areas, and then there's also some things that, you know, I just have to keep it up. So first, let me share with you. I think I'll share with y'all the in-ground soil first. Okay, so I'm going to be looking down, but again, you should see the results on the screen. So first of all, let's start with the in-ground. When I went to take my soil sample, one of the things that I told the extension agent there was I wanted to grow things like roses. I also wanted to grow onions and garlic. Now, what I will tell you about the Georgia clay, red clay soil, is it's a little bit difficult to grow carrots, because I promise y'all on that video, I felt like they were going to say, did you bring us Play-Doh? Did you bring us clay? Are you trying to be funny? Because that's how compacted that soil was. And what you do is you take samples of different areas. And so some of the places that we have been working on, I've been working with the soil, putting gypsum in there, and also putting compost and just trying to amend the soil. But okay, now as you can see, and this is where I'm really surprised at, y'all. Now, sandy soil has good drainage, but it doesn't hold the minerals. And I share that with you because we just moved from the Savannah area. And so I will always just have to keep putting amendments in there every time that I got my soil tested. Mainly, I will have to put a lot of lime in there because the Savannah area, the soil was also acidic. And I always tell people, if you want to grow things like blueberries, that would be the perfect place. And they did have a lot of blueberry farms in the Savannah area. But when I got here, I actually put a lot of leafy greens in the ground, and they really did well, like the kale and the collards. Now, the only thing I had a problem with, but that was due to the pest, was like the broccoli rabe. But they really did good. I put spinach in there. I put onions and garlic in there. So that's why I was feeling like, although the soil is compacted, it does hold on to minerals a little bit better. But if you can see by the results, I actually have some work to do on the in-ground beds, and my soil is slightly acidic, which I was so surprised. Now, if you're looking at the soil test, I had to go refresh my memory. I had to go pull up my old soil test because they email you the results. And I remember on the bag where they test for phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, zinc. But I was like, where is the nitrogen? And so I was like, wait a minute. I could have sworn the last time or the last few times they gave me the nitrogen. But indeed, y'all, they did not. And let me, I'll share with you why they don't. And I actually, the guy actually reiterated it in a lunch and learn that I went to not too long ago. So as you can see from these test results, I need to work on my potassium, and I also need to work on my calcium. The other things are a little bit above the line. The zinc seems to be fine. But so that's something I got to do. But what I do like about the soil results, and as you can see, y'all, 5.8, that's slightly acidic. So I do have some lime that I'm going to add. And I'm probably going to add like the dolomitic lime or the dolomite lime. I'll add that to the soil when I get ready to plant. I'm going to plant more leafy greens, onions, garlic, and then my big project this fall is to go ahead and start putting those roses in. I just want to get those strategically placed. But that was one of the things that we told them we wanted to grow. Now, again, at the bottom, what I do like about it is they kind of give you a recommendation of what to add. And I have not seen borax in a long, long time. I remember my grandmother, they used to use borax for washing their clothes, if I'm not mistaken. But you can use it for a lot of other things too. When my dad, when he go to spray other people's houses, or, you know, just go in there and try to control like roaches and things like that, he would tell people to put borax down. So I was really surprised to see borax. So I definitely have to get some of that, because I do plan on growing turnips, and I do plan on growing beets, although I may grow those in the raised beds. But I like that they give you recommendations. They tell you how much, and you can go off of that. So now let's get into our raised beds. This is what I really want y'all to see. Okay, so again, this is what happened. So phase 1 of the garden was built, and Renew Urban Gardens, they filled them all up. Now we had them come out this spring and do phase 2, which is the herb garden, and then the left side, when you're looking out the door, the left side. So they built us 4 more 4x8 raised beds. So now we have a total of 8, and we have 2 L-shaped beds for the herbs. Now, I ended up telling them I was going to fill it myself, because when they filled phase 1, I remember Crystal. she was saying that she wasn't really pleased with the soil. It was more so in September when they filled them. And, you know, she was just expressing that she's gotten better, a little bit better soil than that. So she wasn't sure. But they got it from like a landscape yard, places that sell like the bulk wood chips and all of these things. So that's where they got it from. So we still grew in it, and I thought that everything grew good. And so again, in September and this spring, when the beds start to settle, they came back out. And then what happened was I told them, I said, well, I will go ahead and I'll fill these beds, not knowing what I was getting myself into, y'all, because we had a lot of leaves, and a lot of sticks that had fallen from the winter time. So I ended up getting like all of the leaves, putting them in the bottom of the raised beds. I got all of the sticks that had fell, putting them in the bottom of the raised bed. And what I did was I went to the Soil 3 website, and I had them bring out 2 of those bags of soil. Great service, great delivery. Now, what I'm going to tell y'all is me and someone else, when I put the soil in, it was, I felt like it was sandy for some odd reason, but I was like, you know what? We're going to go with it. I felt like it was sandy, and I felt like it held on to water a little bit more. Okay. But the lady said it was a blend. It was perfect for raised bed. It had humus. So that's what we went with. We went with that. But let me tell y'all, those 2 bags, I think I was able to fill one of the L-shaped beds, one of the 4x8s, and a half of the 4x8s. And I was like, I think by after a week, because y'all know I work as well, I said, this is going to take me all day. This is going to take me forever. I actually got a little bit frustrated because when they drop the soil off, they put it exactly where you want to, but I had to take the wheelbarrow, fill it up, go dump it, fill it up, go dump it. And then by the raised beds being 24 inches, I didn't have like big logs, but I had like, you know, branches, and Chris cut a few down for me so it could fit in there. And I put all the leaves in there, but I was just like, this is going to take me forever. And it was springtime. I'm like, I'm not going to be ready for spring because I got to get the beds filled. So I called my team back in. I called Renew Urban Gardens again. And so what I was calling them for is to ask them, because I had called these local areas right here, and I was thinking to myself, I got to get a trailer. Well, we have a trailer, but you know, Chris works during the week, and I'm like, oh, I got to wait till the weekend. And the Soil 3, I was like, I don't know, maybe I want to try another type soil. So I just ended up asking them, where did they go to source their soil? And, you know, she was telling me where they went. And so I just happened to ask her, I said, can y'all come out and fill the rest of these beds? I will pay you whatever you want, you know. But they were so nice. They worked with me. They have their set price plus, you know, like delivery fee or transportation fee. And so I know that they were tired. But they got it done all in that day. They finished filling all of the raised beds for me. Let me back up and tell y'all why I got frustrated with wanting to get it filled. Okay, so when they build phase 2, they went ahead and hooked up all of the irrigation. But they was like, we don't want to test the irrigation out until you have the raised beds filled, which made sense. There's no need of, you know, testing it out in an empty bed. So I was like, okay, just give me, I think I told them, give me about a week. I'll have them filled. So that's why I called them back out, because I really wanted to go ahead and let them finish up with the irrigation. And again, it was spring. Go ahead and get my things packed. Go ahead and get my things planted. So I was just like, Oh, they were, when I tell you they saved the day, they saved the day. So y'all, I was back in business, okay? We grew, y'all saw some of the pictures and the videos from this spring and summer. Tomatoes, everything's growing good. Everything's still growing good. Okay, now let's talk about the test results for the raised beds. I felt like I had to give y'all this backstory so that you know how all of this came about. And remember, y'all, I'm not saying that you have to get your soil tested every season, but by us just moving here, I wanted to get, I wanted to know my starting point. I wanted to know where we were at. So that I can work on building soil. I'm always going to tell y'all, build good soil. It's so many ways to do it. Build good soil. It could be composting. It could be, you know, having someone come out and just lay you some inches of compost down. It could be so many ways. Okay. You could do what's called like the green manure, where you do like a cover crop and all of those things. So I really wanted to have a starting point. Okay, so now that I've given y'all the backstory, for those that be like, can you get to the point? I always tell people, I want to know where, I want you to know how it all began, where I'm starting from, so that I don't leave anything out and you're wondering, okay? So now, okay, y'all, we about to get to this report right here. Okay, so again, I'm looking down at the paper, but I will flash it up on the screen for y'all. But can y'all look at this, okay? So whatever was in those blends, that's great. It's good. It looks like I'm off the chart with calcium, so I won't need any of that. Although I did have like 2 tomatoes that looked like they had blossom end rot, but that could be something totally different. And I know I was putting eggshells in there, although I've heard different things, like it takes 2 or 3 years for it to break down. I'm not sure. We use eggs around here, and I'm like, that's a great way to build my soil back up. So now I'll take those eggs, since we're low on the in-ground, and I'll start putting those eggshells in-ground, because I don't need to put any more in my raised beds. And also, y'all know that I've shared with you that I use plant tone, I use garden tone, I use berry tone. So I use a lot of the Espoma products. But so I put nutrients in there as well, as I guess it just being a really good soil. Now the pH, it does say recommended pH for what I want to grow, which I told them, you know, I'm growing flowers, vegetables, herbs. It says between 5 to 6.0. It's at 6.3, so it's totally fine. I don't have to put anything in there. And so you see the recommendations that they have. But this is why, y'all, they didn't put the nitrogen on there. This is why I really want to share with y'all why they don't put the nitrogen on there, because I really did have to go back and do a double take. Okay, so they don't test the nitrogen because nitrogen can change from day to day, from month to month, from year to year. And so what they said is, if they had to test the nitrogen that day, by the time I got the test results back, it could have been like totally different. So they don't test the nitrogen. Now what I did see on on the in-ground raised beds is, you know, like if I had 10-10-10, which contains the nitrogen in there, I can feed it that way. But that's why that they don't put nitrogen on here. Also, they had something, because although the soil is not sandy, it's slightly acidic. It does say, for better fertilizer availability on sandy soils, apply half the recommended fertilizer just before planting and the remainder when the crop is half grown. And I understand why they say that, because again, the sandy soil, it doesn't hold nutrients as well. And so that's why they say that. And it says, in years with unusually heavy rainfalls on sandy soil, 3 pounds of 3400, which that's like straight nitrogen, or 2 pounds of 4600, which is straight nitrogen, may be added to replace nutrients lost from the soil due to heavy rains. But that was some good information to get me started on what I need to do. Now, later on, once we start on planting and landscaping the front yard, I'll do a whole separate soil test for that. But I got about 6 places in the backyard where I just took my spade, which I have laid down and cannot find. I got to do, that's another thing I got to do better about, y'all. So a lot of times when I'm working in the garden, instead of me putting stuff up, I will just lay it down. And although I got another one, that was like one of my favorites as far as like ergonomically. I really like that one. And I don't know where it is, but that's another story. So again, y'all, I wanted to share that story. I wanted y'all to see where we're at. I know I was just, you know, just like talking, but I wanted to explain it. And the day I got my results back was the day I went to the lunch and learn. And while I knew, like I told Chris, I knew about 96% of the things that they were talking about. They were talking about fall garden prep. There was 2 things that I didn't know or just haven't quite grasped yet. So I always say, as long as you learn something new, the trip was well worth it. And it really was. I really wanted to go because I'm like, you need to, okay, fall is around the way. You need to go ahead and stop playing. Now, I've planted, you know, a couple of things that are coming up, like Swiss chard, our lettuce. Don't forget that, y'all, and as a matter of fact, I think I started that lettuce 2 days ago, no more than 3, already getting germination. So I'm going to put the link to the cool weather. I don't call it a fall because depending on your first fall frost, your last spring frost, and your growing zone, if you're unable to grow it in the fall, because it's about 55 to 60 days, then you can grow it in the spring. And so I grow lettuce in the fall and in the spring. You can leaf off of it, although I say 55 to 60 days. If you want to harvest it as baby leaves, you can do it way before that. But this is one of my favorite lettuces, and that's why I call it gourmet lettuce, because it's so pretty. Now, I'm telling y'all, we only got a few kits now, so when I start making videos about the lettuce, y'all don't ask me. Don't ask me, do I have any more kits available? Because it is limited. So make sure that you click the link in the description so we can go ahead and get yours shipped off. I just came back from the post office. And y'all, it's 2 post offices I go to when I want a calm experience every single time. But I figured since I was going that way to the other post office where they just lit. When I tell you, they just, every time I go in there, they just straight up lit. And so, look at the hummingbird. Bless his little heart. Oh, wow. Okay. But when I go, in there, it's just have yourself together. I think they just be sly getting smart. I just have all my, it's no questions you should ask me other than, do you have anything liquid, fragile, lithium batteries? That's it. Cause I got all my stuff together. But it's so funny every time I go in that one. That's why I choose to go to the other one, because it's a smaller post office, but it's calm. It's not a lot of people. They ain't made up their own hours. It's like night and day. But I'm saying that to say I just left the post office shipping off some kits. So I'm telling y'all, don't wait. If you're on the fence, go ahead and do it. You get the cell trays. You get the red and the green gourmet lettuce. You get the labels. And then you get an instructional video with gardening tips and things to do and things to prep for while your kit is on the way. Okay, so let me know in the comments, do you get a soil test? If you do get a soil test, what have your results been like? And don't think, y'all, that you have to get it through like your agricultural extension office. I just choose to do it that way because I've done it that way for years, and it's really, really reasonable. But I've seen soil test kits that are in the big box stores that you can get. I've also seen like places like Tractor Supply where you can also get them. You get like a card and it has like a code on there in a bag, and you send it off. And I think they do a little bit more testing like of the elements, but I'm not sure. But there's so many ways you can get your soil tested. But I do recommend that if you're starting, just to see and get you a starting point, because a lot of people get frustrated when their plants aren't doing good. And one of the main things, y'all, in the summertime, I tell people when they like DM me or email me, or send me a picture, they'll want me to look at the plants. And a lot of times I say, when's the last time you fed it, you know? And you want to feed your soil. Once you start building that soil, then I'm telling you, you'll notice a difference in your plants. And then it's like everything is kind of like on autopilot. Not always, because you still gonna have pests, but I always say if you build good quality soil, and if you do have pests, I feel like the plants have like a better immune system to like fight the pest. So I'm excited. I'm going to go and get some borax. It's a feed place down the, you know what? It's a feed place like 5 minutes away. I'm not gonna go today. But I'm gonna see if they have that, because they also have seeds in there as well. But what I am gonna do, y'all, is I'm gonna get a move on all of our fall plants. I want to keep y'all posted. So again, if you're not subscribed, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, because I definitely want to keep y'all posted on what we're growing. I know I've started Swiss chard, calendula, but I'm about to go start, was that a fly that hit my face? I'm about to go start some onion seeds and some leafy greens. I just got to go through my seeds. I just got to go through them, because there's certain varieties I want to grow this year. And I got to remember, Auyanna, don't go planting trays of 80 plants. I do that a lot too. That's how I end up giving things away, or either I'll like I'll sell them, because I'll start like a lot, and I'm like, don't do that. I'm probably gonna grow like a whole bed, a whole 4x8 of lettuce, but I'll mix it up, because I like arugula, so I'll grow like arugula. There's also some other really pretty lettuces that I saw. I think one has like freckles in the name, or rain trout, something like that. Okay, y'all, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So as always, thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure you share this video with your family and your friends. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead, tap the subscribe button. Make sure you tap the bell so that you can receive notification each and every time we upload a new video. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and until the next video, bye-bye.